Happy 15th birthday, Arianna. I'm well aware that I haven't shaved for about 3 days and I can't be bothered. But there you go. I did actually have another video up, but I deleted it because after looking at it, I absolutely hated it. So it's deleted, and this is going to be the final one, hopefully. And this is actually done the day before your birthday or the night of. I haven't given myself much time, have I? Anyway, I've got some interesting things to talk about, and mainly things that have come from your end. On July the 2nd of this year, July the 2nd of last year, 2025, I received an email from your mum. It was from an email address I'd never come across before, and it is a surname, Harney, that I'm sort of semi-familiar with, but I don't understand why. What I mean by that is you have your Facebook memories every so often, and what I noticed was there was like a tag that was sort of scribbled out or discoloured or whatever you like, related to someone that I've obviously sort of blocked on Facebook many years ago, but the name has changed, so it's no longer, the surname is no longer Foley, it's now Harney. Never understood what that was about. From my point of view, I thought, well, maybe she's in a long-term relationship or she's married. I really don't know. But it was from an email I hadn't seen before. I can't remember the ins and outs of the email I received because I don't have it to hand. But what I can tell you is the reason I rejected the request to see you was partly because of what I considered to be some demands that were heavily weighed in your mum's favour, which were, it was going to be a phone call that would happen on a certain day, probably a Sunday evening, which would benefit me unless it was on a stock take day, and it would be on a phone number. I'm not sure whose phone number that would be. I'm guessing a glorified burner phone, I don't know. And it would be an agreed time, but it would be conducted over a loudspeaker. And there's no way on earth I was ever going to agree to that. I regard this as something of I think they call it lowballing, where somebody offers something that is so terrible that if you actually say no to, it gives an impression that you were never interested in the first place, or you have to be bloody stupid to accept it. And if you do accept it, you're going to have the most appalling terms. But within the actual email, it was saying that if you actually become distressed in any way, I'm paraphrasing, then things could be pulled. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you haven't seen me for several years. You don't know the ins and outs of the history. I can't imagine your mum telling the complete truth about what's actually happened. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure why all this has happened. I mean, the amount of soul searching I've done over the years, to the point where I've gone around the bend, was to say I'm not quite clear in everything, and I'm guessing I'll never know. I'll never find out. But what I can say is, in my opinion, it was totally unnecessary. But I digress a little. But anyway, the idea was that if this was too distressing for you, this could be pulled at any moment. And the thing is, I'm thinking to myself, well, I would find this incredibly distressing. You would find this distressing. So it's almost like saying, I'm going to she was going to pull you out at any moment, the moment you got distress. And I think this would be distressing right from the off. And not just that, to have this whole thing conducted over a loudspeaker where she could hear meant that she could control the narrative. Like, I wouldn't be able to be myself. I wouldn't be able to say what I wanted to say. And I thought, I'm not agreeing to that. So I actually declined. I did say in my response that I've taken a long time to think about this. Not strictly accurate. In truth, I probably made this decision quite a few years ago, although my opinion and what I would have done at any given time would have changed depending on how long the denial of contact would have gone on for. I.e., if I'd just been stopped from seeing you and then all of a sudden she'd have piped up and sort of saying, look, let's sort this out, I would have been more forgiving. But as this goes on and on and on, I start to sort of like ruminate about things. I start weighing things up. Things change. I'm affected by what's going on in my private life, what's going on around me, and my opinion would change about 1 billion times. And but for the last few years, my opinion has always remained the same. That if your mum ever contacted me with a view to actually me seeing you, I would always turn it down. Although, to be fair, I was actually quite stunned that I was even contacted at all, because I'd given up. I think I gave up in 2017 when I last saw you. And the reason why I last saw you was because Mum was ill. Mum had just become disabled. I knew that it would take up a lot more of my time, and I didn't have the energy, and I didn't have I don't know what the words are, I'm afraid, but I just didn't have the mental energy to sort of like to go on with this any longer. So the last time I saw you in your street in 2017 was my way of saying goodbye. And it did actually break my heart when I left, because, as I said to you in messages before, if you've seen any of these, you wouldn't come to me. I remember taking some Disney Zoom Zooms up to Wales. I didn't even know what they were until I got some advice from people on the internet. They said, take these up, and I thought, okay, your birthday is in January. Chris has already gone, and I've gone to see you on the 7th of May, and I think these have only just come out, so I'm thinking you won't have these. So your friends were absolutely entranced by what they were seeing, but you were a bit more disengaged. And I was with my friend Martina. I've got a picture of that on my wall somewhere. I don't know if you can see that. There, it's hard to see, isn't it? You wouldn't come to me, and I think after being there for, 20 minutes, half an hour, me and Martina decided that we were going to go. And then I finally got you on your own, and I asked you if I could speak to you, and you said yes. And I came up to you while you were on your bike, and I said, me and my mum don't love each other, don't you? And you said yes. And then you interrupted me, and you said, how's Nan? And I said, oh, she's not very well. And you said, are you looking after her? And I said, I am. And then I just started crying, because I just couldn't believe you just asked me that. Now, why that's quite important, apart from the fact that I was, quite upset about my mum being disabled and me having to spend a lot more time with her and focus on something else instead of you, was that the fact that you'd only ever seen Mum twice. You came down to see us for a few days with your mum in 2014, which would have been the year that your mum died, the year your nan died. But also there was another time, like just after you were born, where, Sue was, showing you around or whatever, and Mum held you. They were the only other two times you and my mum met. And the only other times you had any communication was over the iPad. So you had a better relationship with your other late nan, Sylvia, than you ever did with mine. And that's absolutely fine, because you didn't really know my mum that well. But when you actually said those things to me that day, I just started crying. And then I got in the car next to Martina. I just said, she asked me about Nan. And then I just cried for the next 20 minutes on the way to 20 minutes, half an hour to the Premier Inn in Cardiff somewhere. And I think even many times after, when I started talking about that to people, I would break down, because it was just, as somebody once said at the carer centre that I used to go to, that your daughter's just given you a gift. So anyway, getting back to the original point, as I said, the decision was made some time ago. Wasn't expecting to hear from your mum. And, I basically said that I was quite happy for you to contact me in the future when you're older, but not under any kind of control or not with your mum, not under any control by your mother, or not with your mum present. And I've never heard from your mum since. That was in July of 2025. Now, leading up to making this video, or rather the last video that I deleted, I just went onto my other YouTube profile that has been purely created for you, which is where this is. And I was a bit shocked to see a comment on the 2015 video for the 7th of January. The comment was actually made in February, I believe, and it was basically saying that you are a bit distressed in school, but you, and this was from your friend apparently, and you and your friend are really enjoying the videos. So I don't know whether this is bogus or not. I haven't got a clue, but it did make me wonder whether the two incidences are connected, like you finally seeing me on YouTube and you pestering your mum for wanting to see me. The only thing that concerns me, and I think my friend Ben, who I spoke to about this, sort of like discusses with me, he basically said, does actually, Arianna's mum know about your YouTube channel? I said, well, I don't think so, because if she did, she would have said something about it, wouldn't she? So it does make me wonder, like, whether, this is just a coincidence and this is a person pretending to be your friend. But what I need to sort of address the fact that, you may really want to get in contact with me regarding what that person said, or even if that's a bogus thing, you wanted to contact me anyway. I still want to get to know you, but the circumstances weren't right, and I'm sorry, but my main concern was that if you got so distressed that your mum pulled you away, I thought I'd lose you forever. And I thought I would rather take a chance in trying to establish a relationship with you later down the track. And if it doesn't work out or whatever, at least it would be your decision. But it's not fair for someone else to pull the strings and me lose out again. And I'm sorry, but I couldn't go through this again. I really couldn't. Previously, for example, the whole incident of losing you completely altered my mind. In 2015, I would be at the till at work, and whenever people are rummaging around for change, I would just imagine for a brief couple of seconds or whatever, that you were running into the shop, jumping up and down with that big gorgeous smile of yours and just wanting to give me a hug. And then when they finally gave me their change, I realised I'd imagined the whole lot. I know this would happen, a few times a day, multiple times per week. And then in 2016, when in the back end of 2015, I took presents up to you on 3 occasions, and then I received an email from your mum, which was sent the evening that I was on my way back from seeing you, but I didn't see it till Christmas Eve. And it was saying that your mum was stopping all contact with you, and she was going to get in touch with mediation. Now, I knew that to be total rubbish, because it was me who started a mediation a year earlier, and Sue managed to dodge that completely and even got her friend Sharon involved, who I was actually going to have supervised visits with. The supervised visits is ridiculous, but because your mum wasn't happy about me seeing you on your own, because of the argument we previously had, and so I was going to have supervised visits with Sharon, and things were going really well. We were establishing a good rapport over the phone and whatever, and it was getting close to me actually having a visit with you, with Sue not present. And then what happened, I received an email to say that Sharon had died, and then I completely went to pieces, because I thought, that's it. Sue's never going to find anyone again that I'm going to find a rapport with, And I'm not going to go into details about what happened after that, but I sort of like started to unravel. And then in 2015, when your mum played a dirty trick on me, which looks like she just used me to get presents out of, probably to pass off as stuff from herself. In 2016, I was resigned to losing you completely, and my mind just spiraled out of control. I mean, to say that I went through a personality change is an understatement. I didn't even know what the hell was going on with me. And I think I said in previous videos, I likened the whole situation to slowly falling down a well and never actually reaching the bottom. And this just endless feeling of just falling, and just in terms of my well-being and self-esteem, it was just slowly getting worse, and there never seemed to be an end to getting to the bottom. And so, like, with everything that I've been through over the last few years, and not just that, but also with looking after my mum and her sort of like passing away in 2023, it just felt that when your mum got in contact with me last year, it felt like everything was going to get dredged up, and I just wasn't ready for it. And I'm going to explain some more in a moment. Towards the end of last year, I got this horrible flu bug that was going around, and I think I'd had it for about over 5 weeks at one point. I decided I'd had enough, and I was going to go to the walk-in centre in Portsmouth. They noticed that my blood pressure was quite high, and basically said that they told me to take some, what's it called, decongestant, and then said I might hear from my own doctor's surgery soon. I went, okay, whatever. But then the doctor's surgery did get in contact with me, and they wanted me to go in to have some further blood pressure tests. So I took them, and then I got seen by a nurse there who said that my blood pressure was high and advised me to go and buy a blood pressure monitor from Amazon. And then I've got to take tests for about 7 days. Now, these tests involve me taking 2 tests about a few minutes apart in the morning, and then another couple at night, and do this for 7 days. Now, the way this blood pressure monitor works is it gives a reading, and if it actually sort of flashes neutral, it's fine. If it flashes yellow, it's above normal, and if it flashes red, it's high. And I've been, my readings are between yellow and red, but mostly red. And the really weird thing is, when you actually have a flu virus, your blood pressure will go up because it's having to work harder. But the really weird thing is, as the flu has started to leave me, the high blood pressure hasn't. And I'm quite concerned about it, because I just don't know what's wrong with me. And the really weird thing is, I can understand that, you're getting on a bit and you're at work and you're trying to work at a fast pace and you're getting out of breath and you're thinking, that's because of your age. But when you find out your blood pressure is high, you're thinking, right, there's something else. I just don't know. And I even speaking to a customer at work today said, yeah, it can be a silent killer. So it's like, I really do need to check this out. And the other thing that, has been concerning me, and I've been thinking about this for a long time, long before this flu virus, is, just how sort of like selfish your mum has been, in my opinion, in respect that your mum suffered with cancer before she met me in her 30s, and your nan Sylvia died in her early 60s. I've also got a friend called Martin who died, I think, when he's 57 years old. Yes, a year and a half away from where I am now, and he was the fittest person in our badminton group, and he died at 57. And then, of course, you got my brother, who's found dead in his house when he's 45. And you think, like, as you get older, you are aware that people die, people that die. Your mum nearly died. She had cancer. Your nan died. All these things are happening, and yet your mum has stopped me from seeing you or whatever. And what if something had happened to me and you were never able to see me? it's such a selfish thing to do. It's not like your mum could not have known this, you know. And now I look on, I'm getting like high blood pressure readings or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, one thing I always wanted was be able to make my peace with you, to sort of like meet you and say, look, I'm really sorry. I could have been a better dad, but what happened to me should never have happened. You know, I'm not saying that I was the greatest father in the world, because there were times I didn't know what I was doing. But what I did do is I copied your mum, and I was very supportive of your mum, because I'm thinking, there's certain things your mum were doing I didn't agree with, but I kept them to myself. I kind of felt that at times that we spoilt you too much, and I just didn't think that was a good example to set you, because I do basically believe that if you keep buying somebody too much stuff, they never really appreciate anything. So sometimes less is more. And that's what I kind of thought. Like, it's more important to spend time with you than keep buying you stuff to make you feel wanted or make you feel appreciated. And the reason I say this is because this happened to me. I didn't have a great relationship with my parents when I was young. And I think like it was almost like they spent a lot of money on me at Christmas or whatever. And it's almost like the more you spend on me, the more you love me. But it's rubbish. It is absolute rubbish. And I just didn't want you getting into a situation where you became sort of spoiled or whatever. I didn't want that for you. But anyway. So my point is, I've always wanted to be reunited with you. I've always been worried that I may not get that chance to speak to you and put things right. And this sort of like health scare, and like I said, I've not actually seen a doctor yet. I've just basically had tests with nurses and whatever it is, and I'm concerned because I don't know where this goes. I mean, ironically, I'm recording this on the 6th of January 2026, and tomorrow will be your 15th birthday, and I'll be handing those results into my surgery. That could have been time better, couldn't it? So yeah. Anyway, last year in April, I got the last piece of the jigsaw sorted regarding the house. What I mean by that was the bathroom was actually done, and I'm incredibly happy with it. It's probably the best room in the house. And he also made an amendment, also made some changes to the kitchen. I liked the colour of the bathroom so much that I actually asked the builder if the paint used would have been okay to use in the kitchen if it was the same colour, and he said yes, it would. So instead of it being white walls that I was never keen on in the kitchen, they're now the colour of the bathroom, and I'll show you that now. Come with me. Let's flip the screen. God, look at all that clutter. Anyway, that is the colour of the walls in the kitchen. You now know what the colour of the walls in the bathroom are going to be. Ta-da! So the bath has gone. We have a shower cubicle, new sink, well, new everything really, new toilet, blah, 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 blah. A new lino, no carpet. We have mats, which Joe says I have to wash whenever I clean the bathroom. Yeah, all right, Joe. The actual window is smaller. The window went all the way to that wall there. And now it's been shortened just so we can get the cubicle in. But some interesting information is I found like a 30-year-old time capsule in this room, because against the walls and on the ceiling there was this horrible wood panelling, looked a little bit like a bloody sauna. Bloody horrible it was. And I thought, why the hell in the early 1990s did mum and dad have that? And anyway, because there's been an awful lot of problems with the the kitchen and the living room, whatever now, my builder thought there'd be a a lot more problems in the bathroom. I mean, there were more problems in the bathroom, but not as bad as what was found in the kitchen. But yeah, the interesting thing about the bathroom was that when they took the panelling down off the walls, obviously the walls were really bad, and it seemed like the panelling was put up probably because they couldn't afford proper plastering and rendering or whatever, so they just sort of put the panel up to, hide any defects. But the interesting thing was in the ceiling. There was a whopping great hole in it. So rather than put a new ceiling up, they just put wood panelling up. So nobody knew about this for 30 years. I don't think my sister would have known. I didn't know. And I suppose it never occurred to my mum. She'd probably forgotten about it. I mean, what I did find a bit weird was, I think on one of the joists or whatever in the bathroom, there was like over a 30-year-old B&Q sticker on it. I thought, what the hell? They couldn't even bother to take that off, and it was just stuck there. I mean, nobody puts like those sort of everything's barcoded these days, so you don't really need like stickers anymore, do you? But yeah, I can't remember how much that cost. It cost a lot of money, but that's the sort of really the last piece of the jigsaw. I've also decided that this year I'm going to try to cut down on all the work that I'm having done, because I'm working my arse off to pay for all this stuff, and I actually think I'm burning myself out and probably made myself ill. Obviously my diet doesn't help, but I'm pretty certain that me working all these hours, like 45 hours plus, isn't really helping my blood pressure. So I thought I'm going to make a massive compromise with regards to the house. I was going to get the front of it rendered, the outside rendered or whatever, and coloured. But now I just thought, I'm just going to get it repointed. So I'm guessing it'll probably cost no more than £2,500. If I had it rendered and all that stuff as well, it'd probably be about nearly £5,000. I thought, do you know what? Why don't I go on a couple of bloody holidays? I've probably worked well enough to do it. And I obviously don't need to work all these hours anymore. And with regards to the fact that my body is slowing down and I'm just not fit enough and they're prioritising other workers, I can't do what I used to anymore. And so, I don't want to become an embarrassment at work where I feel like other people are covering me. And like whenever anyone phones in sick, I'll do these hours and they're thinking, God, I wish we could get somebody faster. But, I've done my bit. And I think ever since I got flu over a year ago, I've never really been the same since. I mean, that wiped me out. I've had 2 other colds, or 1 cold and another flu since. And I think I'm done. I really think I'm done. While the actual work in my bathroom was being done, I was getting very, very stressed out because my mum's birthday, which was the 29th of April, was coming up. And it would have been like 2 years and a bit since her passing. And I didn't really want to be in the house when the builder was here. I just thought, I've got to get out of this house. I've got to get out of this city. So me and Joanne, we went to Winchester, and as we were approaching this cafe or bakery called Need, that's Kneed, there was this busker outside. He was singing in this operatic style some various songs or whatever it was, some that were, they were sung in such an operatic way. You're thinking, who the hell sung that previously? And I even had to Google one and said, that's Ed Sheeran. I mean, Joanne disagreed with this. She said it wasn't. I said, I'm bloody certain it is. But it was one of his lesser known songs. He's done so many. I mean, you can't forget one, I suppose. But anyway, he was singing in his operatic voice a song called Time to Say Goodbye, originally made famous by Andrea Bocelli and Sarah Brightman. Now, this song made me start crying because I picked this song to be played at the end of my mum's funeral. So, yeah. But what was even weirder was about 2.5 weeks after that, me, Ben and Joanne, we went to Lymington. And as we were walking down the market, I heard this bloke in the distance singing this operatic style. And I said to Joanne, I says, that don't half sound like that busker, Tobias Strongman. She said, no, it isn't. And as we sort of carried on down the market or whatever, we got a glimpse of him. I said, it bloody well is. And I started welling up again. I actually wanted to have a word with him and say something about I kind of felt like, it was almost like I felt as if his mum was talking to me. on her birthday through him or whatever. But then he started like singing another song, and I went, no, I haven't got the guts to speak to him. So I carried on walking on. But what was interesting that day was we went into this cafe, and you often get like two tables that are sort of like pushed together, and sometimes one's more wobbly than the other. And as I sort of pushed my drink towards Jo to ask if she fancied drinking it, it tipped over her phone, and this smoothie went all over her phone screen. Anyway, the staff came to help sort of dab it and clean it up or whatever, and she lost a couple of the side buttons on her Samsung Galaxy phone. It was an interesting atmosphere in the car going home. It really was. I didn't say much. In September, me and Ben, we went to Bodrum in Turkey. About the fourth time we've been to Turkey now. Nothing massive to say about the holiday. It was quite enjoyable at times. We also got on a ferry to Kos, which is a Greek island, and it's the first time I've been to Kos in 29 years. The previous time I went there, I suffered with sunstroke and then fell backwards in a bar, and I hadn't even got round to taking my sip of drink yet, and a bloke caught me. So, bit of a weird thing, 29-year gap between the two holidays. How was your Christmas? Well, mine involved me and Joanne. We went to the local Weatherspoons for a drink because they were open for about 4 hours. And then after that, we went to the Toby Carvery, where it cost us £72 for a 3-course meal, which is basically a starter, a all-you-can-eat carvery. And then, of course, once you've eaten all that food, you then can't eat your pudding. So we took our puddings home. But £72 and you still had to buy drinks. Yeah, not going to be doing that later this year if I have my way. If I had my way, I'd be cooking at home, but Jo doesn't like me doing that. And just so you know, Jo's a very close friend. She's not my girlfriend or anything. Yes. The sad news is on Boxing Day, Joanne was with a friend of hers, and as she was going into a Weatherspoons pub, not the one she was in Christmas Day, she fell over going up the steps at the Isambard Brunel pub in Guildhall, and she broke her humerus. So she is in an awful lot of pain. Plus she's got a cold, or the flu, so things are not great. It's not sort of great for her really, because with it being her right arm or whatever it is, or right shoulder that she's done in, she is right-handed, and I've got to, whenever we go out anywhere, I've got to help her into a coat and a jumper, then undo her coat when we go anywhere, and then undo her coat when she gets home. So it's the days are a little bit long and they're not exactly great. And whenever we eat anywhere, she obviously has to eat things she can eat. I mean, can you imagine like saying, "Oh, let's have a thick steak," and she can't cut it because her right arm doesn't work. So she's not a happy bunny. Anyway, that is all for this year. I'm sure I've missed something out, but I didn't want to drag on, even though this is hitting 33 minutes so far. So I want you to know that I haven't closed the door on you. I want you to contact me. Even in secret, I want you to contact me. But you must understand, because of what's happened to me with regards to your mum stopping contact with me, I've got a sense of post-traumatic stress disorder. And like when you think that you've buried this information, you've buried these feelings and it's all gone, it isn't. I mean, when your mum contacted me on July the 2nd, I think I saw Jo about a couple of days later, and we went for a coffee at the Espresso Bar in Commercial Road, and I started telling her about it, and I just started crying a couple of times in front of her. And the thing is, I've cried over regarding mum, in the last couple of years, because obviously it's quite recent, but I kind of thought all this stuff with you was buried. But it's like just talking about it just brought it back up again. And it's like, you know, I don't know, sometimes when you're not endlessly thinking about something, you think, oh, it's in the past, it doesn't matter so much. I was surprised it was still there. Just doesn't go away, does it? So I want you to know, I haven't closed the door on you. I want you to contact me. I would be open to meeting with you. Although I understand with you being 15, I know that's difficult. We may have to wait. I don't want to cause any problems with your mum while you're underage. But you must understand, I will never meet your mum. I don't want to. Okay? I still love you. Take care, Dad.